guys, in case you missed my amazing cosplay marathon reveal stream, I had the pleasure of interviewing Kevin Yanis, an awesome Bungie dev that's working on Marathon. We got to interview him live on stream for about 20 minutes right after the big marathon reveal, and I really wanted anyone that wasn't there to have access to it. Jack came up with some cool questions to ask, and he had a lot of great stuff to say. And I don't know if my editor is including my face in any of this, but if he is, please, I can explain. I was painting my face like Glitch because she's my favorite runner. And yeah, okay, enjoy the interview.
How's it going?
It's really good. Are you feeling a bit relieved now that like the reveal is revealed?
I am relieved. I am excited. Frankly, I'm excited to have people come play the alpha because I'm ready. I mean, so actually we've played a lot. I'm Tocom.
I agree. Waffles.
You've definitely seen me in the Discord.
Oh yeah, I have. Okay, well, we tried to compile a list of stuff to ask you to try to hammer as much information out of you as humanly possible. So I'm so sorry. Let me start with, what are some of the challenges that devs faced when developing the game? Certain features that you implemented, just briefly.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, so I think one of the biggest is that we've moved to a dedicated server model. We have a bunch of security features to keep the game fair. That's paramount in this genre, right? Extraction shooters are known for having cheaters, and so we put a lot of effort in that. And you wouldn't think it, but that actually changes the way we build stuff. That changes the way we architect abilities or any piece of content, not only to make sure that it's network safe, but it's responsive and that it's secure. There are some times we have to change the way we build something to make sure that it works great with the fog of war system, or it feels responsive over the network. I would say that's probably one of the biggest ones we deal on a day-to-day.
That was actually a huge part of what we wanted to ask, is how were you planning to handle cheaters? So chat's very excited about that answer. I'm not going to ask you to dive into the specifics, but it's very reassuring hearing that is a big focus. Okay, so rock bottom mechanics, when players keep getting shit on, right? I know that there are kind of faction sponsored kits. Do those keep coming back if you just keep getting shit on and run out of gear?
Yeah, so it depends on your value of your vault, right? So if you have stuff to sell, we'll ask you to do that to purchase a sponsor kit. If you're under that threshold, if you're just, if you're crashing out, you will get sponsored kits that will provide you with stuff. And as you progress through the progressions, you'll be able to upgrade the contents of those sponsored kits so that you can kind of raise your floor a bit. I know I personally have had nights where if it wasn't for the sponsored kit, I would have crashed out, but it kept giving me stuff, and I'm like, all right, well, I mean, this is effectively a zero cost run, so why not hedge my bets? Why not try it out? And I ended that night on a really high note. I got I think a purple implant. I had blue shields and had a blue backpack, and I was feeling really good. I'm like, okay, wow, the sponsored kit itself turned this around for me.
That's awesome. We definitely had a raid like that whenever we were playtesting, where we were like, let's just knife only and see what happens. And we went in and just stabbed some UESC and got that's when I got my purple shield, actually, was that match. Also, I just realized, do you want to give chat an overview of what you do?
Totally, yeah. My name is Kevin Yanis. I'm a senior design lead here at Bungie. I am the team lead for the runner team, which encompasses the runners themselves, core player, controls, movement, implants, cores, backpacks, and the faction upgrades you'll see. I've been at Bungie for almost 12 years. Prior to this, I was the combat design lead on Destiny 2.
Oh, awesome. That is very, very cool. What does the concept process look like when you guys are coming up with runners? When you're making one, what does that kind of entail start to finish?
Yeah, totally. We start high in the sky. We do these sessions we like to call yurts, where any idea is a good idea. We don't discourage people from saying bad ideas. In fact, we kind of encourage it, because one bad idea could morph into a good idea through iteration. And we start thinking about either what the needs are in the sandbox, or what are cool fantasies that are missing. Let's say for Blackbird, we knew pretty early on we wanted an intel character. Intel's really strong in this type of genre. It's really important to have that kind of represented. And so from there, we're like, okay, what are cool intel things? Well, yeah, pulsing through walls. What else? What do you do with that information? Well, if you're aggressive, right, and you want to hunt people down, you need some sort of tool that allows you to pursue. Okay, that then informs, wait, okay, if this person's kind of got this gadget belt, what's the archetype that they're gonna embody. I'm paraphrasing, I'm skipping over weeks and weeks of iteration here, but eventually we arrived at a power fantasy that's like, oh, the vigilante. And so they have like a gadget belt. They have a lot of tools to pursue targets. They have information that they can use to like kind of triage what's going on the map and make informed decisions. And then when they execute somebody, they have that follow-up capability of understanding where another target is.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I like the whole like no bad ideas thing, because I'm a firm believer that even like hearing just certain words can spark something in
Brain
your brain.
blast.
Yep, brain blast.
Totally.
Yes, exactly. Do you guys plant? So everyone loves. I'm calling him Bingus. Everyone loves that cat. Okay. Is there any plan at all to have like a hideout, like just a little place? It doesn't even have to have a function, just something to have that cat and chill with that cat.
I'm just gonna say anything regarding Bingus is highly classified.
Oh, okay. Bingus is kind of a big deal. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna ask very quickly, what are y'all's plans for seasonal content?
Totally, yeah. So we're doing seasonal wipes, which will get rid of some of the gameplay stuff that you've amassed. It'll reset your faction upgrades. We're going to then introduce a bunch of new stuff that we can't talk about that yet, but that'll change up your pursuit season over season.
Very cool. Are you guys gonna have a robot dog?
Destiny 2 has a robot dog.
Yeah, I know. People were just like, people were like, but what about in this game? Okay, how does...
Can't talk about the animals.
Okay, all animal talk is highly classified, chat. No more. How does Marathon separate itself from other extraction shooters in terms of like the gameplay loop? Like, what is going, in your opinion, what is going to hook new players?
I think a bunch of it is streamlining some of the genre, right? So that people can get and experience some of the highs and even the lows of the genre. It's packaging up a bunch of like builds that might be hundreds of hours away in other games into single selections in the runners as your kind of baseline starting point. It's simplifying game systems so that when you make decisions, you can make them maybe at a higher level than you would in others. And I think really importantly, frankly, is the narrative, right? And how the world of Marathon binds and gives context to everything you're doing, right? There's a ton of decision making you're going to have between your weapons, attachments, implants, cores, upgrades, and then like the runner you're picking or the grenades you're taking out. But having context to what you're going to achieve is really powerful. I remember telling folks on Narative how excited I was when one of the first storylines got online, and how just having that narrative grounding of, instead of it just going to be like, oh, go to this thing and interact with it, it's like, no, here's why the world cares about this, and here's why what you're doing is important. And having that grounding, I'm like, oh, okay, so like I get it. This was a lab once, and there were people here, and they were, they're really important. And getting this data is actually really vital to understanding what happened.
Yeah, I can tell you like 100%. I've never read a single like Tarkov quest box or like, why am I getting this pocket watch? I have no idea. So I think that that's really cool. Marathon is making the player become interested in that capacity.
And it's worth noting, this stuff's like voiced, right? So it's not like you have to sit there and read giant text box.
Oh yeah, like, and the effort value of that alone is just insane. So I'm very, very excited to see more of that, and like just faction quest lining and all of that stuff. Can you speak on why you guys landed on doing a hero-based extraction shooter instead of like a BR or a single player game or anything like that?
Those are kind of two. I'm going to decouple those to like why extraction and then why heroes, and why runners, and why that makes sense. So for Bungie, we kind of have this pedigree of finding these like juicy genres that don't necessarily have like the penetration or the wide market appeal, because like and we're like, no, people need to experience this. They need to understand why this is so cool. I was just telling Pirate that one of my first moments playing extraction shooters was a successful kill on a player, and like the dopamine hit I got from looting somebody else's bag, like the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, I get it. I get why this is awesome, and now I understand why we need to show this to other people, because there's just something so delightful and exciting about the tension of leveraging my stuff, but the knowing that if I win, I get their stuff. And when we decided to do that, right, we knew that that's a pretty big challenge. Like, there's a reason that a lot of these games have like a hardcore distinction to them. And so, for us, the challenge is how do we bring it so that more people want to try it and are excited about trying it, but also then keeping the depth and skill and strategy in there, because those are exciting bits. Those are like core fundamentals and tenets of the genre that make it work, right? If we just made an easy extraction shooter, I don't think it would be that exciting. So it's finding the tightrope, walking that tightrope to retain the tension, to retain the stakes, but still bring that experience to more people. And then part of the, with that in mind, part of the decision behind Runners was that we wanted to expose some of the cool gameplay and build opportunities that are inherent to this genre to more players. And by creating these runners, we've created we call them platforms or starting points of gameplay identities and styles, right? And that way you don't have to invest maybe like 50 to 100 hours to even get to the identity you want. You start at a baseline and then you can either accentuate it from there, or maybe you can shave off some of the intentional deficiencies we given some of those runners to give yourself more flex, or take them in a different direction and go to a different build, right? Like Void is all about avoiding combat, right? If I want to play more carefully, slowly, his kit at baseline is about avoiding conflict and sneaking past the shadows. But let's say you're actually much more of an assassin type. There are cores and implants that accentuate your melee damage with your knife. They make your melee poison. And then there's the gold core that's really exciting. That can push that even further. We call it the Excalibur build, and I'm sure you get why it's called that.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Diving in a bit more about into runner customization. I know we kind of talked about like implants and cores and how much stuff you can do with those to make new builds, which is very sick. Can you speak on physical customization at all? Like looks of runners, or plans for looks of runners, because I know that in that video we got to see some very cool looks on Glitch, so I'm curious about those.
Yeah, totally. So we are going to have skins. We're going to have skins on our runners, on our weapons. There are other things that are part of that visual expression. We're not talking about how you acquire them today, but we're telling you that they do exist.
Okay, cool. Skins exist. Very, very nice. Bouncing kind of back to why you landed on Extraction. As I know a lot of the Bungie team that I talked to plays Tarkov, and like I know a lot of us that were playtesting referenced it for certain things. Are there any parts of Tarkov that you are just actively trying to avoid when you're making this game?
Outside of the wiggle, I don't know if necessarily any part of the Extraction genre or other Extraction games are off the table. Similar to the Yurt process where we say no idea is a bad idea. I think everything's up for grabs in this genre, and it's mostly about how we present it and bring it to people in a way that doesn't feel exhausting, right? Like we don't want to be a milsim, right? We intentionally, and so that means that any concept that we want to take, we have to do a considerable amount of work to it so that we can bring it into our flavor and our paradigm that fits our game and our audience.
Yeah, it makes it your own. Like I said in, I think one of my interviews is like, I'm really tired of wearing camo and I'm excited to not have like an intense thing that's just like grinding like 4 trillion different parts of whatever. But I know that there's also a lot of aspects to those games that people really do love. And I'm kind of wondering how you guys landed on this, or if it's still in talks or process. The weapon mod removal stuff, like for example, Hunt Showdown, you can't remove mods on those weapons, but Tarkov is the polar opposite. You can build some crazy, insane stuff. Can you kind of talk to us about why you landed where you did with weapon modding and the removability, stuff like that?
Totally. I'm going to say 2 things here, which is, this was an iteration, the version that you played, based on economy evaluations and internal long-form playtests. Even the playtests that you guys participated in, we had data going on your vaults and how much you guys were accruing and losing stuff, and we made the decisions we made based on that. But I should also say that all of the feedback you guys have been giving about mod customization has made some pretty big impacts. And while we're not able to talk about it today, the mod experience you'll see in future builds is going to be different from the one you see in the alpha.
Very, very cool. I'm so happy. I know that was like a big thing.
I'm getting the signal for one more question.
Okay, one more question. I'll add this. Why refresh Marathon? Why not continue off of the original 3?
Marathon is an impeccable sci-fi world with an incredible amount of depth and richness to it. When you said why Extraction, part of that is we love telling stories, and Extraction, both in gameplay and out of game, is a great platform to tell great stories. And Marathon, I think, is one that kind of missed the boat when it comes to the expansion of video games. And so there's a whole lot of people now being introduced to the original trilogy, the original world, and we love sci-fi games, right? So it made sense for us to like revisit this cherished IP of ours and not just reimagine it, but also build on top of it, right?
Awesome. Cool. Well, we really appreciate you taking time out of your big reveal day to come and answer some questions for us. And yeah, we're all really excited.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
You too. Thanks for watching, gamers. I'll be working on another marathon video for the week to answer more questions from you guys and elaborate on stuff I went over in the gameplay reveal video that I posted. If you haven't watched it, it's the video posted before this one, and I highly recommend you do. You still have time to leave some questions for me to go over in the next video. Again, any question I can answer, I'll answer, even if you just want me to elaborate on something from a previous video. And please sub to the channel. I want to prove to my mom that people actually like when I'm yapping about games. Okay, thank you. Bye.